I wouldn't have thought this is my dream role, but now, honestly, I can't stop thinking about it. I
Well,
talked to
good.
Todd a lot about what else we might be able to do. Um, in general, just working together, but also specifically, is there something else with Joker that might be interesting? So it ended up being a dream role. I don't. It's nothing that I really wanted to do prior to working
Well,
on
yeah,
this
even
movie.
you saying that, because you don't do sequels, there's no, to even say that there's more to do.
I don't know that there
There
is.
is, but you're not closed minded about it.
No, and it's I think me and Todd would still be shooting now if we could, right? Because it
They say that.
seemed endless. Um, the possibilities of where we could go with the character.
You don't have any dream to be in a scene with Batman.
No, I haven't had that. I haven't had that dream.
That dream, well, see, it could be coming because the Batman is coming. So who knows, right? It's just up there.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. We have to talk about Joker 2. It sounds like Joaquin Phoenix actually wants to do a sequel to the Joker movie, so we'll break it down. There's a lot of things that they've said about it since the movie has come out. We're doing a new round of the movie ticket giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave your best theory about the Joker sequel on the video. So if you're not sure what's going on here, he's just been doing a lot of interviews in and around the movie, saying about how much he loved the process, how hypnotized he was by the character, and even though he acknowledges in the past he's not a person that does a lot of sequels, he feels like there's so many directions that they can take this Arthur Joker character in the future. So here's my top 10 predictions for what that would be based on the way they've talked about this and the way Warner Brothers has sort of bubbled this type of film off in its DC Black Label film universe outside of the normal Justice League films. Very big spoiler warning for the Joker movie if you haven't seen it yet, because we need to talk about very specific plot points and the end of that movie. Starting with number 10, you start with the story of the Joker breaking out of Arkham Asylum, where they leave things at the end of the first Joker film. I know the way they edited that scene makes you wonder whether or not it's really happening, but I do think it's meant to represent that he's slowly breaking out of Arkham and he killed that person that was interviewing him inside the cell. So you begin with that, there's a short time jump for a couple of years in the next movie, the situation in Gotham only deteriorates, cue more jokes about giant rats in the sewers. They can then introduce a very young version of Detective Gordon as a young rookie who hasn't made detective yet, who starts to unravel the mystery behind the Joker after his display on live television during the Murray Franklin TV show. So you have to imagine that what he did on the Murray Franklin TV show was watched by so many people, so many potential future Batman villains, but also other characters like Detective Gordon. 9, because he's been in Arkham Asylum and because they're setting these movies in the past, early to mid-80s period for the sequel, you can also introduce another version of Dr. Harleen Quinzel before she becomes Harley Quinn and is turned by the Joker, but it's not the Margot Robbie Harley Quinn. Arkham Asylum is just this untapped resource for Batman movies right now with so much story potential and so many Batman characters flowing from that place. So 8, you begin and end the sequel movie at Arkham Asylum, but while you're at Arkham, you introduce a few more of Batman's rogues gallery of villains as they slowly start to get their origin stories too, the same way they did the origin story of the Joker in the first movie. Hugo Strange is another really solid pick. He can be another doctor at Arkham, and because the Joker movie twist is that it shows Arthur as this tragic villain of circumstance and Thomas Wayne as a person who comes off more as an antagonist, you can treat Hugo Strange the same way you treated Thomas Wayne during the Joker movie. Someone who abuses patients at Arkham, experiments on them, someone who you would normally put all of your trust in, like you trust Thomas Wayne to fix the city. But because Hugo Strange is a pretty notable Batman villain, of course he would be doing terrible things to the patients in Arkham. 7, you also treat some of the sequels at Arkham Asylum as Grant Morrison's Arkham Asylum story without Batman, because that is technically a Batman story, is this crazy fever dream of the Joker playing with the idea of what's real and what's false. You do it as a really trippy nightmare, and you can continue with the idea that Arthur's off of his meds, and you can never really be sure if what's happening is actually happening or if he's just imagining it. 6, Joker can also inspire other classic Batman villains through his act on the Murray Franklin TV show like the Penguin, Mad Hatter, Scarecrow, the Riddler. And you can do the sequel as an origin story of sorts for at least one of them, but because it's a smaller film, you would probably pick one and just zero in on them, like a Scarecrow origin story or a Riddler origin story. But because it would be part of this DC Black Label universe of films, it would be rated R, so it would be less of a Jim Carrey version of the Riddler. Riddler is just a character in the comics who has had a lot of bad history with the Joker, so even though at times it seems like Batman villains team up, the Joker definitely hates the Riddler. Scarecrow is also another solid pick for a young scientist who could be working out of Arkham Asylum under Hugo Strange. In 5, with the way the Joker movie is commentary on the way we as society deal with mental health issues and people who are mentally ill, you can also portray the other classic Batman villains in that same way. More as tragic villains who don't necessarily start out bad, but are pushed to violence through the circumstances around them and the systems of Gotham. The local government, the police, the rich, like the Wayne family, fail them completely the same way they failed Arthur as he was slowly becoming the Joker. So that by the end, they have nothing left to lose, just like Arthur said to Murray Franklin, I have nothing left to lose, and you don't have to necessarily turn them into heroes because the Joker isn't a hero in this movie, but you are able to understand why he does the terrible things he does without necessarily condoning his actions. 4, because they sound like they're not going straight to a version of Batman, you still bring back a slightly older but very young version of Bruce Wayne as a side character. He's not the main story, while you're doing these other Batman villain origin stories like the Riddler, and you just show Bruce Wayne slowly suffering from some of the same mental and social problems as the Batman villains suffer from, like his mental health deteriorates in the same way the villain's mental health starts deteriorating, making it a little more believable that one day he will think that it's a good idea to dress up like a bat and run around Gotham by night taking down criminals. That's the whole concept of Joker's speech to Batman during Killing Joke. Everyone else is just like me. All it takes is one bad day.
I've demonstrated there's no difference between me and everyone else. All it takes is one bad day.
3, you give Joker a worthy opponent in someone like the Riddler or even the Court of Owls, another villain or group of villains who feel like they have a claim to Gotham and want to impose their order and control on the city. Whereas the Joker wouldn't have any of that. He would hate the Court of Owls just as much as he hates Batman, because not only are they the rich elite that treat people like garbage, they're also just as much to blame for the bad state of Gotham City as people like Thomas Wayne. Like the rich people saying that we'll fix everything, but then do nothing to help the people that really need it. 2, eventually you do have a bigger time jump, but instead of doing the normal version of Batman you see in the PG-13 family-friendly Batman movies, you turn this version of Bruce Wayne in something closer to a hardcore Flashpoint Batman, only it's Bruce Wayne instead of Thomas Wayne Batman. Much more in the tone of something that matches the intensity from what you see in this Joker movie, but you do it as a much smaller, more intimate film. In number 1, because it would be smaller, less Batman gadgetry, you do a third film as a Killing Joke style film. They had to do the animated version of that film rated R because the subject matter is so hardcore. It would be perfect for a DC Black Label film.
You had a bad day once, am I right? Oh, I know I am. I can tell. You had a bad day and everything changed. Dressing up like a flying rat doesn't hide it, it screams it. You had a bad day and it drove you as crazy as everybody else, only you won't admit it. You have to keep pretending that life makes sense, that there's some point to all this struggling. You make me wanna puke.
People talk about how Ben Affleck was so hardcore and serious in Batman v Superman. The tone of his Batman during those movies is much more in keeping with the tone of these DC Black Label films, so you lean into that, but you do it as a smaller noir detective story. Or if Warner Brothers takes a hard pass on doing any kind of version of Batman in these DC Black Label films, you still jump forward in time and you just make Hugo Strange or the Riddler his biggest villain and do it as a war of jokes and riddles movie. There have been so many times in the comics that Batman's villains have gone to war with each other instead of going to war with Batman, so that would totally work inside a Joker sequel. But let me know in the comments, if they do make a Joker sequel, what do you want that movie to be? And if there are any more rumblings about it, I will do more Joker sequel videos. We'll be ramping up to start production on the Batman movies pretty soon too, so I will do more Batman movies as we get more details. Congratulations, Average Titan, you're the giveaway winner for my last big DC video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your details. I've already done a bunch of Easter egg videos about the Joker movie. Click here for my Joker ending scene and Easter eggs video playlist, and click here to watch them talk about what's going on with the Batman movie plot. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody put on a happy face. I'll see you guys tonight.